Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we are going to be featuring some battles from a local play Pokemon tournament. These battles are from Lylejeffsiii, who is a local of mine. I don't live in Toronto anymore, but close enough, and is a very talented battler. Qualified for Worlds last year, got second in Pittsburgh Regional, I believe, and is probably looking to qualify again, and almost certainly will. Running a team of Guzzlord, Medicham, Lickitung, Lantern, Superior, and Frostlass with no Steel type, which seems to be the very popular trend. The first round opponent has Dugong, Lickitung, Charjabug, Medicham, Carbing, and Salazzle. This Lantern looks pretty strong against the team. Only has one really hard check, which is the Lickitung. Even then, that it can be a pretty tricky matchup. But it's not so easy to bring the Lickitung when there's a Guzzlord on the other side. But Lickitung is a super strong Pokemon, so I do expect it to come in every single game. The Salazzle, also kind of interesting here, to be honest, but I think we'll have a lot of problems if it runs against the Lylejeffsiii. And we are going to see Medicham versus Salazzle. This is a favorable matchup for Salazzle outside of the Zero Shield. But it is, as you can see, these counters are doing a tremendous amount of damage despite being resisted, and gonna throw the bait of the Ice Punch. We will see if the opponent will shield or no shield. They will end up shielding and protecting the Salazzle, and we will see another Poison Fang, which is likely going to be enough. And Lylejeffsiii running that Go Plus Plus in the background. It is collecting a lot of Pokestops, getting a lot of Pokeballs and Great Balls. But we're going to see the Salazzle throw the Poison Fang, and we're going to see the Lick Down. And we will see what's going to come in. Is going to be the Charjabug, looking to stay in and throw the Surf, throwing it excellent timing. And likely we will see the switch. We do see the switch. What will this Charjabug do? Charjabug is in trouble. Unfortunately, going to come in with Dugong, and Lickitung has a very favorable matchup against the Lickitung due to its tremendous bulk and super effective power whips. This Dugong will likely throw the Icy Wind, look to drop the attack of the Lickitung, but will it be enough to slow down this Lickitung? Unfortunately, the opponent was kind of slow in switching out, which will allow this Lickitung to outpace to the second Power Whip. Normally in neutral matchups, that is not going to be the case. We're going to see how this is going to play out. Dugong, Lylejeffsiii brought basically the three hardest counters to Dugong, though the Water Gun variant is not as strong as the Spark variant, and we will see the Charjabug come back in and likely throw the X-Scissor. Oh, gonna throw the Discharge. I think X-Scissor is probably more energy efficient, but we'll see what the opponent is going to do. The Surf is going to be neutral, almost KOs, but this Charjabug is able to hold on. But with this shield advantage, this game is all but over. The opponent not showing X-Scissor. Interesting. Are they running something else besides X-Scissor? Maybe they're running Crunch, I believe is the other moveset. I'm not quite sure. We will see. Hopefully we'll find out in game number 2. I think Salazzle is very tough to bring against this team. It certainly has some really nice targets in the form of Superior and Frostlass, but the fact that it can get farmed out with Lantern, and there's not really a clear Lantern answer, makes it very challenging to use. And we are going to see a very similar team comp, except we're going to be leading the Lickitung, perhaps expecting the Dugong lead. And we're going to see Lickitung into Medicham. We're going to see if it's going to stay. If it is Dynamic Punch variant, this might be a little bit tricky. And was attempting to catch, but did one lick extra. We're going to see if it's going to be Psychic or Dynamic Punch. It is actually a Power-Up Punch Medicham, and getting the bait. That is very huge for the opponent, and the opponent will end up shielding, and they will catch a Power-Up Punch onto the opposing Medicham. Very nice play, but will this Medicham stay? Does it have Psychic? Does it have... oh, interesting. Ice Punch here. Okay, very interesting. And we're going to see if it's going to go for the Ice Punch or going to go for the Psychic. Man, this Ice Punch is actually... I think it's actually going to KO, right? Oh, no, it's actually just a pup. Not enough. Okay, good counting by Lylejeffsiii. Are we going to see the shield protecting this Medicham? We will not see a shield. and does get counter down and has a psychic loaded. Gonna throw it at the card bank. This is gonna do some good neutral damage. We'll see whether or not we'll get the 10% defense drop. Will not see it. And Lantern gonna come in to the card bank and water gunning away. You couldn't tell that these water guns are super effective just by how little damage it is doing. Gonna throw here. Interesting. I think saving the surf is a little bit better here, but maybe you're gonna look to try to catch here. I'm not quite sure. I think saving the surf would be better, but I guess you're gonna have to throw the surf anyways, because likely this Lickitung is going to be able to win this mirror match with the superior health advantage. But we will see a body slam. Body slam is not going to be quite enough here. Going to be able to get off the next body slam for sure. It does about 18% and going to be able to reach the body slam. But the opponent's going to be able to look down. We're going to see how this is going to play out. This is actually going to be a very close game here. But this Lantern is going to be able to throw the surf here, and this is going to be good game here. This card bank does have some energy, but unless they get our miraculous Moonlast debuff and a no shield here, even no shield won't be quite enough. We do see the rock slide bait. The moon blast there would have been pretty devastating. Honestly, that was a very gutsy call there. We're going to see the rock slide again, and Lylejeffsiii going to make it to 2 surfs, and Lantern certainly wins CMP versus Cardbank, so this is going to be a GG, making a very difficult call, but end up being the right call from Lylejeffsiii. Certainly could have lost that game if it was a Moonblast, but predicting the bait, and it pays off. And gosh, you're going to go into this next round here because it was 2-0, and this opponent does have a Medicham and gonna try to bait out the Frostlass with the Medicham, and we're gonna see how this is gonna play out. This Psychic does a decent amount, but it's not gonna be enough to KO, and gonna probably look to throw the Shadow Ball because Avalanche is not enough, but will use Shield, but shielding here doesn't really make too much sense. And this Lickitung is going to look to farm it all the way down. Going to have to eat an Avalanche. Oh, maybe Lylejeffsiii threw the move there. We're going to see. Hopefully not. No, did not throw the move. And we're going to see if the Medicham is going to come back in. It is loaded right now. Would win CMP. So, it's actually an Umbreon. Oh, this is going to be interesting here because this Medicham is absolutely loaded. And this Umbreon is going to be able to absorb the damage. Are you going to see this Umbreon stay? I think it makes sense for it to stay versus this superior since... gosh, you're going to switch and throw the Ice Punch here? Or is it going to be a Power-Up Punch? It is going to be the Ice Punch. And this Frenzy Plant is more energy efficient than the Aerial Ace. And the Aerial Ace certainly wouldn't be enough to KO, but it's going to be able to farm down after this. And going to shield the Ice Punch. Very interesting play. Not to shield. Now you can just throw straight Aerial Ace. Like, does this Umbreon have a choice but to shield? If it calls the bait, that would be a pretty big call there. But unfortunately, for the opponent, they do get baited. Gonna throw the Foul Play. This is certainly not going to be enough. And to snarl down this Superior is going to be very tough here. Gonna go for straight Frenzy Plan. This Lickitung still has a ton of energy too. Can you make it? We'll be able to make it to the Frenzy Plant, which will do a considerable amount of damage. I do expect the switch. Oh, she's going to throw the Power Whip here, which will do more damage, especially since this Umbreon is loaded. Is this going to be enough? It is enough. It makes the absolutely game-winning play there. Very nicely done. Picking up some friendship. Body slammed from the top rope. WWE Corey with a very beautiful play there. Really well done. Making all the right calls. The opponent not shielding the Frenzy Plant or the potentially the super effective Aerial Ace. And Lylejeffsiii picks up game number 1 in round number 2. Because these games are cut very quickly here. The opponent does have Mandibuzz, Carbink, Frostlass, Medicham, Swampert, and Venusaur. So pretty interesting team. The Swampert, the Venusaur is pretty tough to bring against the Guzzlord. So Medicham, Carbink, Frostlass was Was okay, maybe I'm misinterpreting here. So it was. Oh, it was. Oh no, this person has Umbreon here. What? Did I write this down wrong? Okay, I think this person has Umbreon, not Mandibus here. Or am I looking at the wrong team here? Oh, okay, this is the team. I mixed up the order of the team. Okay, that's okay. Or I put the videos up in the wrong order. Okay, that makes more sense here. The teams are very similar, but okay. Still hard to bring the Venusaur, hard to bring the Lantern. Lickitung also difficult to bring, so Guzzlord actually looks pretty decent here. It's also good against the Umbreon, just really poor against a Frostlass and Medicham, but we're going to see there's a long wait period here, and we see Frostlass into Venusaur. I believe actually Venusaur actually wins this 2-shield here, so because it does win CMP over Frostlass. I'm not sure the Shadow variant will survive all the power, so it does not look like it. And the opponent, oh my goodness, waits and then still throws the Avalanche. Still does quite a bit of damage, and going to look to come into Medicham. It still makes sense to throw it there, but that was a very nice catch by the opponent. I don't believe the Venusaur left with a move, so it will make it to another Body Slam, which is not quite enough, but gonna be able to put this Medicham pretty low. But can this Medicham get off 2 Ice Punches? I don't think so. I think you go straight Psychic here, which is the correct play because the opponent does come in with their own Medicham predicting the Ice Punch. Also didn't want to take the damage onto Venusaur. Gonna throw straight Aerial Ace, I think is the correct play here. Looks like got denied there. They do throw the Ice Punch. And this is a tricky situation here, right? Because the Venusaur is still kicking around. And then end up surviving here. I'm going to throw the Aerial Ace anyways at the Venusaur. It makes total sense here, right? And I think you force the Venusaur to throw energy here, right? Yeah, you let this go. But this Medicham has a move. Do you throw the... Ooh, okay, but it's not in Ice Punch range. So the Medicham would have to throw a Psychic, which I don't believe it has. And we're going to see... It looks like it has 2 Avalanches already. Should have 2 Avalanches. And we'll throw this next Avalanche. And that is going to be enough to take out the Medicham. The Medicham needs to land a Psychic there. Very nicely played there. Throwing the Psychic there, knowing you couldn't get 2 moves off anyways, which was a really nice play. Okay, I'm going to guess that this is the team here. We'll find out. Every team has a Medicham. And going to throw the Body Slam before... The Psychic is it going to try to catch? Is going to make the catch here? Is it going to be the Dynamic Punch or is it going to be the Psychic? It is a Dynamic Punch, making a very nice play and baiting out the Frostlass, though not that weak to Frostlass in the back. Besides the Medicham, maybe was trying to bait out the. I don't know. Was trying to bait out the Venusaur. I'm not quite sure here. I mean, likely the opponent will Avalanche here. Because it's the Shadow Ball. Oh, okay, interesting. Gonna throw the Shadow Ball here. I think that was a little bit overkill. Even if it didn't KO, like you just give less energy for the Lickitung. And gonna shield. And then look to lick down. It will see if the Medicham comes back in. Medicham is pretty low. It did take a Body Slam plus a bunch of lick damage. And we will see the Venusaur. Oh my goodness. The Venusaur up a shield is going to be really tough for this team. But thank goodness the Venusaur came in to the matchup here. This is interesting here. This is very interesting. Gonna throw the Frenzy Plant. Do you shield this? But the Medicham has a move here, right? Oh, okay, it looks like... I honestly don't see how you can win this game here, but gonna shield. Maybe the Water Guns plus Surf is gonna be enough. Can reach the Thunderbolt here. Oh, they actually catch onto their own Medicham, but this Medicham is way too healthy here and is gonna be able to reach a Dynamic Punch, not choosing to undercharge versus this Venusaur. But this Dynamic Punch is not gonna be enough, but it's gonna put it pretty low. Oh, but this Venusaur already had a move here. Really unnecessary switch then. And this Venusaur just toying around. And Lylejeffsiii picks up the first loss of this tournament so far against Exhibi. I'm not I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. Anyways, let's see. This is definitely a trickier situation with this Shadow Venusaur wreaking havoc right now. It's actually pretty decent against the team. Unfortunately, this Guzzlord does not appear to be enough bench pressure quite yet. Okay, interesting potential dilemma here. A Venusaur lead would be pretty tough to manage here. We will see. Okay, gonna pick up the Metacham lead. With Dynamic Punch, this should be a favorable matchup for the Metacham. And we will see they're probably going to go straight Dynamic Punch. We see that it probably does about 45% to... Okay, oh my gosh, making a nice catch here. Oh my gosh, Lylejeffsiii is in shambles right now. Oh my goodness. But can you farm down this Venusaur? Looks like that's going to be the answer. But do you have a hard answer to the Frostlass in the back? We're going to see. Going to be able to farm down here. And this Metacham is going to have a really hard time in this matchup. And we're going to see a fellow Frostlass in the back. This game is over. The opponent making a very nice catch, but it's going to be very costly for them. Going to throw another Shadow Ball. The opponent only needs to throw an Avalanche to take out this Frostlass, so I don't expect it to throw a Shadow Ball. I expect this to be an Avalanche. Oh, maybe gonna try to catch an Avalanche here. It's definitely gonna try to catch an Avalanche. And the opponent tries to come in and banking the Shadow Ball, and they come into their own Metacham. Unfortunately, their Metacham, might have Psychic here. That would be kind of crazy here, but we know it has Dynamic Punch. And gonna look to build up a lot of energy here. I believe Dynamic Punch and Ice Punch are very similar in energy efficiency, so might actually pay off in terms of throwing the Dynamic Punch. And gonna throw the Psychic, gonna force this Frostlass to throw some energy here, but it's gonna need to land 3 moves here, which I don't think is gonna be possible. And unfortunately, they are going to have to take a Psychic here. Gonna have to. Oh, they throw the Shadow Ball here. Okay, interesting. And then that's a very weird play there. Certainly the Avalanche would have been enough there. And Lylejeffsiii, despite the opponent making a very beautiful catch, the Venusaur just ended up being energy for Frostlass. And without the card bank from the opponent, was not able to effectively absorb the damage. And running, honestly, a pretty weak team to Frostlass. Will we see the card bank, or will we see it as bench pressure? Again, running a team triple tricky for like playable matchup. Okay, the opponent does lead Frostlass. What does that say that's in the back? Maybe it's a Swampert in the back. We'll throw the Avalanche, and the opponent does come into card bank. Oh my goodness, has no good answer to card bank. This is gonna be pretty interesting here. Gonna come into Metacham. Metacham does resist the rock rock throws. And the Moonblast obviously would do tremendous amount of damage. Psyche is gonna be neutral. Not gonna be enough to KO. Oh, gets the critical defense drop, which is so critical here. The opponent actually decides to bait, but they will not be able to survive the counters to make it to a Moonblast. There's absolutely no way. This has to be a Rock Slide. And Lylejeffsiii knows that and does not do very much damage. Oh man, this Frostlass is going to be in a world of hurt. I'm predicting using Psychic Energy this is going to hurt, and the opponent actually decides to shield. They definitely should Avalanche. There's absolutely no way they should Shadow Ball here. They do end up avalanching. Gonna come back into Lickitung and gonna throw the Avalanche. Is this enough? I think this is gonna be enough to take out the... It is. And then we're gonna see, but behind on energy, this Frostlass is gonna be able to beat this Venusaur to the move. It's behind by 1 turn. And gonna be able to land the Avalanche 1 turn before this Venusaur because they had to switch there. But can this Frostlass survive the Powder Snows here from Lyle's Jeff. Oh, or is this going to come down to CMP? This is what? Oh no, because the third one is one less turn, and gonna be able to outpace the Frostlass and win the game there. Nicely done. And we're gonna go into the fourth round here. Very competitive matchup. The opponent making a very nice read, leading Ninetales into the Frostlass. And we're gonna see Medicham versus Cresselia. This is one of the most dominating matchups in Great League. This Cresselia just absolutely mauls Medicham and only needs to land the Grass Knot afterwards. Can take any moves from the Medicham, not a big deal. Unfortunately, can't Psycho Cut down. It would be a little bit too much. And gonna maybe could have farmed a little bit more there. Probably gonna throw the Grass Knot and take it out. And we will see the Frostlass come in. It will likely make it to a move, which it does. It does a moderate amount of damage to the Frostlass. And we're gonna see some farm up here. We will see what the opponent decides to do. Oh man, we're gonna see a Guzzlord off. Unfortunately, the opponent did switch in, so they will. That is pretty interesting here. Gonna throw the Dragon Claw here. That's interesting. And the opponent deciding to no shield here and gets embered down. Oh my goodness, that was insane there. Okay, Guzzlord off. That's not that sounds wrong in many ways, but we're gonna ignore that and continue on this family-friendly channel, and we're gonna see what Lylejeffsiii is gonna do to come back from this very tough situation here. Obviously had Guzzlord and Cresselia in the back in case of a Lantern lead, but we are gonna see what's gonna happen here. We're gonna see Frostlass into Medicham, making a very nice prediction here. And the opponent comes in with Guzzlord onto Frostlass here. But this is a favorable matchup for Frostlass. But the opponent can bait, which does make this a little bit tricky here. Gonna shield the Dragon Claw. And gonna throw the Dragon Claw at the Guzzlord. I don't expect the Guzzlord to shield. I'm predicting they're going to come into Medicham. Probably going to look to throw the Crunch at the Medicham, which will still do a pretty good amount of damage. But this Medicham is going to be able to leave with a Psychic. And we're going to see if you're going to take the damage onto Lickitung or onto Frostlass. The Psychic is going to do quite a bit of damage here. Going to no shield. Is this going to be a bait, or is this going to be... Oh, it's actually no Psychic. Actually going to come in with... going to throw the Dynamic Punch at the Frostlass, which is not going to be enough. And this is a very tricky situation for the opponent. I don't see a reasonable win con for them. Are we going to see the overheat, or are we going to see... Oh, they actually decide to overheat here. And this matchup is definitely over for the opponent, making a very nice shield there. And Lylejeffsiii going to be able to come out with a win here. They are going to throw the Dynamic Punch. Actually, I don't believe it is enough to... Oh, actually is enough to take it out. But going to be able to barely fast move down this Medicham. This actually was a super close game there. Nicely played. Not throwing the charge move. Recognizing the win con, or avoiding the lose con there was probably the more accurate way of stating it. And we're going to go into a decisive game 3, 2 Juggernauts in this game. We're going to see the Medicham mirror, but we already know it's Dynamic Punch, so this Medicham is at a significant disadvantage. But we also don't know that... Oh, actually, you do know that it is... No, you actually don't know that it's Psychic, right? Because this is the first time the matchup has gone. Gonna throw the Psychic. The opponent must have Guzzlord in the back. And we're gonna see how this is gonna play out. They're gonna throw Dynamic Punch. Interesting, they overfarmed here. Are we gonna see the Ice Punch? Are we gonna see the Dynamic Punch? We will see the Ice Punch. Again, a little bit less effective, waiting for the counter. Saw the counter, throw the Psychic. but this Medicham is going to double shield and look to potentially farm down here. But unfortunately, the Medicham makes it to the psychic. That's absolutely devastating. Is this enough? Oh my goodness, down 2 shields to 0. That is so bad, and we already know what's in the back. Show me the Guzzlord. Show me the Guzzlord, and I will show you my Frostlass. And that is absolutely devastating there. Wanted to control switch, and controlling switch would have been everything in this situation here. Unfortunately for the opponent, Lylejeffsiii's Medicham was able to prevail. Honestly, I don't expect Lylejeffsiii to shield this overheat if it does get thrown. Unfortunately, it does not, and Lylejeffsiii able to come out with the win. Oh my goodness. Lylejeffsiii beating the opposing Medicham down with the opponent Medicham using 2 shields. Obviously, they had the move, but they didn't want to throw it because they wanted to leave. They invested 2 shields, but it wasn't quite enough. And Lylejeffsiii able to come out with the win. Congratulations, and congratulations on the, I believe it was 50 points towards your World Championship qualification. Anyways, if you guys like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.